Hopefully we're starting to get a little more comfortable and using our modifier finding and using our modifier menu. This next shape that we're going to do is going to be adding a twist and a taper to another rectangle. So I am going to add another rectangle in my scene. I'm going to zoom out here, just go over. I want to get into my create tab. Remember how to do it? So I go back over here into my command panel. I click on the plus, I get my create tab. Here's all of my shapes under standard primitives. Okay, that's going to be this first box. I have other ones in the other menus here, but we're going to stick with this for now. I'm just going to add a box. I'm going to drag it out, kind of make it cubey on the bottom and drag that up. Now the last one we set was 11 height segments. So this one is going to keep those number of segments that we had from the last video here in our parameters. It kind of saves that as a default, at least while we're in this project. So I want to go and I want to save this one more time. I had it saved as modifier practice. So I'm just going to click on save often in case it crashes, I don't lose it. Here's my shape. We're ready to add the modifiers to it. So I go back into my modify menu, which is the second main tab in my command panel. I click on that. Here's my box that's listed. Now, I don't want to get confused and have this in the scene. If I get rotated around, it's kind of blocking it. So we haven't used our scene explorer much, but we're going to go over here. We're going to shut the visual eye off for the first shape that we did, the taper. It doesn't make it disappear and erase it. It doesn't delete anything. It just hides it for now so that we can model what we want in our space here without having that get in the way. Okay. I don't accidentally click on anything. It's just shut off of view. Now, click on my shape. I'm in the modify tab. I know that it's editing this shape because it's highlighted here with my tealish color. We're going to make the length and width match. So whatever you want to do for that, I'm going to do 0.4 by 0.4 just so they're squared. And my height can be somewhere around 1 meter. Okay. Yours can be a little different. We're just practicing this. And I'm going to center this in my space using my zoom extent here. Now, let's add our twist modifier. Select it. I'm going to pull down my modifier box and I'm going to scroll down until we get to twist. Okay. What I want to do now with the twist modifier is I want to change. So the twist is applied, but there's nothing going on here. So think about how much it twists like a clock. All the way around, one whole circle is 360 degrees. If I want to turn this face just one direction, one click, 1/4, it's going to be 90 degrees. If I want to turn it all the way around to this side, it's going to be 180. So let's try this. We'll start here with my angle. I'm going to put that at 90 and I click and there's my twist. Now I can set which axis I want to twist. I'm doing my height. X runs across, Y runs up and down, and Z is my height or my 3D volume. Okay, so a lot of times in math class, you just use your X and Y on your coordinate plane. We're going to use X, Y, Z here. So if I change that to Y, you notice it twists my shape going this direction. And if I change it on X, it twists the shape going that direction. But that would change with how many segments we have in our box. We're just going to leave it at Z, and we're going to go from 90. Let's up that to 180 and add a little bit more twist to it. Okay, so there is our first modifier. We have the twist, we have the angle, and then what does this mean down here? The limits. Okay, I can change my upper limit. Let's see the height of this. Let's see what the height was. Do you remember? Let's just set this in even 1 meter here so that it's easy to work with for our height. I did that by clicking back on the box. Now let's go back and change the amount of twists we have. If I want to limit the amount of twist to a certain part of my shape, let's say I only want it on the top from, this is 1 meter tall, from 0.5 meter to 1 meter. I can do this limit effect, okay? And right now I'm saying there's no effect applied because it only applied from 0 to 0. Now my box is 1 meter tall. I type in 1 meter and it's saying this taper is applied all the way from the 0 to the 1. But if I want to raise that up halfway to half a meter, okay, I can type this as 0.5. And so the first half is there's no effect, okay? But the taper is limited from the halfway point all the way to the top of the meter. If I make this box 2.5 meters tall, let's go back here and try it real quick. I'll go 1.5, okay? And I zoom out. Now this taper is applied from the half to the 1, but there's no taper applied here. So that's how we can add some modifications into our shape using limits. That way it won't do it to the whole thing, it will only do it to part of it. I'm going to shut this limit off, and it's going to reapply that taper to the whole shape. I'm going to undo my last change for the height, okay, to make it back down to 1 meter tall. We could shut this off again. And we have a twist on our 1 meter tall tower. Now, we still have to do something to modify the shape. So we have a full half 180 degree twist in here, but it also goes to a taper. So we can do compound application of modifiers in here, and it will apply one on top of the other on top of the other. So once the twist is done, okay, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to pull down my modify list, and I'm going to find my taper modifier that we used in the first exercise. We're going to apply a taper right onto the top of our twisted rectangle already. Now, how much do we want to taper it? Let's just start dragging this. It's going to be kind of counterintuitive because it's, okay, now my taper is getting bigger here. It's going out to 1 meter. I'm going to bring it in narrower, okay? And it's going to go down. In order to get it to a point, I need to actually change my taper to -1. Okay, so my taper is getting smaller, so it's negative, and you can visually do that. And once you get it to a point, you're done with this taper. So this one we're going to rename. If I click on it, I can rename it here, or I can rename it over here in my my Scene Explorer. Okay, this is my Scene Explorer. So this one, I'm gonna just go rename, and let's call this a twisted taper. Twisted taper. Oh, you know what? I'm doing the wrong one. I have to make sure it's box 1, which is turned on. I'm gonna right click on that one and rename. Twisted. Does not want to do it. It's not accepted over here. So let's do it here. Twisted taper. Once I select off of here and I get back into my Create tab, it will let me do it. Now I can go and turn this on, and I see both of my shapes so far. All right, that's it for our second tutorial here. We're going to do in our next lesson how to do the shell modifier, and then we'll finish up with the sphere modifier, the spherosphere. Okay, so thanks for joining me. We will see you in the next one where we do some shell.